In 2008, 10 years ago, I was 35 years old. So you can do the math at how old I am now. I was looking after my terminally ill dad. My dad had cancer, and he came to live with me so that I could take care of him in his last days. He was a really funny man, awesome sense of humor, could make anyone laugh. I didn't really know him very well because he disappeared from my life when I was just a child and came back into my life when I was 18. He was a taxi driver right here in Toronto most of his adult life, which I don't tell too many people, or I didn't tell too many people that because I was embarrassed when I was a child, because people had dads that were realtors and doctors and lawyers and things, and I was too embarrassed to talk about that. But I feel even worse about that today, about my horrible judgment. While I was looking after him, I was studying to get my real estate license, and he died just before I got it at 64 years old. That same year, I quit my cushy corporate job. I jumped in with both feet into real estate, and everyone, I mean everybody, thought I was crazy. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. And both feet meant that I was broke. I was scared about how I was going to make my mortgage payments. I was amounting some serious debt, and I recall some days I would literally be shaking with fear, wondering where the money was going to come from. A few tough years into real estate, I got engaged, but that same year my mom got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, the worst kind of cancer you can be diagnosed with, and she was 64 years old. I won't be able to talk about my amazing mom for too long here because it will be tough to get out. But just know there are many things I could stand up here and say about the woman that raised me. I was so lucky to be raised by her. She was strong and fierce, but shy at the same time. She didn't like to speak in front of people, so she would never have been able to stand up here like I am today. But if she were here, she'd be standing back there, probably by the bar, actually. So nervous for me, but at the same time beaming with pride. She was such a strong lady, and she fought for the underdog and took no crap from anyone. And believe me, I tried in my awful teenage years to beat her down, but she won every time, and I am so glad that I lost. She had the innate gift to help people. She just always knew where she was needed and wanted and would give anything to anyone that needed. I had to plan my wedding around chemotherapy appointments and heart-wrenching sickness that came for the entire week after, and move my wedding date forward just because, well, I wanted her to be alive to be able to come. And she did. She was there with bells on. Subsequently, she lost her battle with cancer a few months later, which is the biggest loss of my life. And when she left a big hole, and I promised to try my best to take over where she left off. So I vowed to help people in need, just like she always did, and so I do. During this time, my career was starting to move in the right direction. I knew early on, and it was a lesson I learned from my mom, to always, always be myself. So with that being said, I made sure I treated every client I had honestly, fairly, ethically, and I was always myself. People started to relate to that and appreciate that about me, and from there, things grew ever so slowly, one client at a time. Then I had a baby at 40 years old. She is the best decision I've ever made. She is my big why and brings me the most joy. But some days I am exhausted. I work tirelessly at being present with her. At 45 years of age, which we all figured out at the beginning, I have a 5-year-old that I play Barbies with. I do crafts and more crafts, and I pretend that I'm a school teacher with her to all her stuffies. Unfortunately, things didn't work out in my marriage, and I went through a rather difficult divorce. And I won't say anything further about that, only that it was second on my list of most difficult, painful things to go through, right next to the death of my mom. And going through it all while trying to be the best mom to my little girl and protect her, who was also transitioning and maneuvering through this with us. It was just awful. So just to recap my life over the last 10 years, since getting my real estate license, I quit my high-paying corporate job and had zero money. I cared for my sick dad, who subsequently died. I got married. My mom died. I had a baby at the age of 40, and I got a divorce. All the while, I built a booming real estate career with a team of now 15 of the greatest people I know, and we're called the Linda Knight team, and we're a family. We are... Oh, I'm not done. We are number eight in Canada for units year to date. And in this tough, weird real estate market of 2018, we've done over 180 transactions to date. So I ask you, what is your excuse?